I'm very pleased to welcome Shobha Vasudevan, who leads the enterprise communication for Dell and is joining us today to talk about not only trends in communication where enterprise solutions that Dell offers are concerned, but also to talk about various aspects of media engagement. How do you pitch, for example, when media is so restricted? So, welcome, Shobha.
Thank you, Parul. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Shobha, my first question to you is, Dell has always had a very unique way of approaching their communication because it started off. There were no physical stores. It was a lot of it was online. In fact, most of it was online. When it comes to but that was for personal computers, of course. When it comes to enterprise, the enterprise business, what do you think stands out as communication changes that have happened since COVID?
Without COVID, I think there were a lot of changes in the enterprise communication space. It was starting to become much more connected to the consumer. We were trying to demystify technologies, make it easier for people to understand why enterprise solutions should make a difference to them. That's been a work in progress. So post COVID, what's happened is that we become much more aligned in terms of talking about more about the benefits to the consumer and less about the speeds and feeds of our product. Because we've all realized that post COVID era, the print space is lesser, the number of media reporting is lesser, so the stories have to be more impactful, they have to make a difference, and they have to be connected to what is happening around everyone. So I think we've all I speak for all, I guess, enterprise communicators at large when we say that we have tried to make that as a standing point as far as our communication is concerned.
Thank you, Shobha. So, can you give me an example of the kind of communication that you're talking about when you're saying you're trying to make it even more relevant and talk about the benefits rather than pushing just the product?
Sure, without sort of getting into a lot of nitty gritty. So what I can say is, for example, if we were talking about cyber security, for example, as a product portfolio, which is part of our enterprise, PR portfolio. Earlier, we would talk about, how it impacts, enterprises and how it will impact and what is the general need for us to do that. Now we're talking more about how it's more impactful in a work from home scenario. Why is it essential for people who have now started working from home to be more careful about the security protocols that their organizations have put in place, and why it's important for organizations to now work around that, even in the pandemic situation, where they're able to look at making sure that they don't suffer any data loss due to this new work environment situation that they've all encountering.
So, given the challenges of the fact that the enterprise software now you need enterprise grade software at home, which is a huge, change in how the products are being used. So, you of course just mentioned how you're communicating the various safety protocols. How much of a challenge is it to communicate to people at home? Some of the things you may not even automatically know. Things like file backup, things like who has access to what level of clearance, all these issues. How are you communicating them?
Well, we are okay, let me back step a little bit. So as a country, I think we are much aware about what kind of security protocols we are. Extremely safe, or we are a country which practices safety in communication a lot. So we will have passwords on all our phones, we will have passwords on all our laptops. We will try and secure our devices as much as possible. So that is anyway a part of the culture and the kind of habits that we formed over the digital era that we've been living in. The new situation, I think, requires people to be more aware about what their organizations are expecting them to do. Some of the tips that we have been propagating are that to make sure that your two-step authentication on your office laptop is secured. As much as possible, try and not use your official laptop for your family use as well. Do have another PC at home for your other, for example, if you're kids at house and they want to attend classes, so have another PC, because it just becomes easier for you to, demarcate your professional, safety and safety of your data if you're not using it for multiple users at the same time. Also, do not save any of your confidential data on your personal devices which have not been authenticated for your organization. Don't start saving them on hard drives and on disks and on pen drives, etc., because you're just making sure that there are more possibilities of malware entering your system. And obviously nobody can control every device that's there in your home. So the more you're closer to what your office has requested you to do, the safer it is for enterprises, because once it enters the system, sometimes it's difficult for the IT team to figure out how do they control it in a situation like this. So we always practice safe, I would say, social distancing as far as non-official PCs are concerned.
What are the kind of queries that you're getting from clients about setting up the enterprise grade security at home, and what are you telling them? You were outlining many tips and tricks that you give them.
Sure. So, like I said, for our customers or for our media friends who are writing stories around the new normal and how people are, trying to work efficiently and productively from home, we're pretty much helping them out with the same kind of information that we have, which is to make sure that use the systems which are company provided. Stop clicking on phishing emails. Try and avoid using your official laptop for personal uses. Do not store anything from your official work into any personal devices which are non-company sanctioned and monitored kind of devices. So these will help, and I think this is a new normal for everyone, so people learn as they go along, and in most cases they're all very eager to make sure that they don't do anything which harms the organization's brand image and hampers their own work safety as well. So I think that definitely helps.
Thanks, Shobha. My next question is a lot of our PR professionals keep saying that it's so difficult to pitch a story right now because the space for stories has shrunk so much, not only in terms of it being COVID dominated, but also that because newspapers are reducing the number of pages they can afford to print at this point in time. What is your take on the solution, and what kind of can be done at this point, and should we be looking at other options?
Okay, so good question, Parul, and I think very, very imperative at this point of time. Yes, I agree. There is a huge change in the media landscape right now. There are lesser number of pages, there are lesser number of media houses, lesser number of journalists, and even the journalists have limited mobility. So it's not that they will be able to attend, anything outside. They can't do interviews per se as many as they were used to. So I think a couple of things that as communicators we can keep in mind. First of all, we are all in the same situation together. So be empathetic. Try and understand what the other person's going through, whether it's a journalist or whether it's, a media house, marketing. All of them are going through the same challenges. They are also facing the same insecurities. They're also facing the same, work from home challenges. It's a new situation. So I think being empathetic to their situation really helps. Moving from brand promotional messages to, brand impact messages, I think will help. Instead of talking about what I am launching, it's time for me to talk about how does this help you right now. Because that's what people need to know. They are looking for solutions. They're looking for hope. They're looking for, ways in which they can continue being as close to a normalcy situation as they can in the current situation that they are in. So I think that will help. The third thing that I think it's very important to do right now is to reevaluate your strategies. We may not be able to do everything that we were planning to do earlier. So we can't probably do physical events. So then, can we do virtual events? Can we do digital webinars? Now, sometimes for a journalist also, it's difficult to attend every webinar that a brand puts forth. So then can you do recorded content and do it an on-demand version and tell them that, this is what a on-demand webinar link is. And whenever you have the time, kindly go through it. And, again, let us know in case of any questions. I guess it's more about being supportive to each other than being demanding of each other's time, which will make the difference. So we'll have to be friends with the journalists now more than ever. They're also facing challenges as well, so I don't think it's right for us to be putting more pressure on them to deliver things which it might be difficult for them even at this point of time. So I think those are some of the things that as new communicators in the new scenario we should be looking at, and what we can do to make a difference.
What about own media? Do you think corporate sector will make a stronger push for own media properties?
Well, own media is definitely a big push for all brands, even with or without the COVID situation. That's a voice of, it's like a company voice. It is always going to be important. It's always going to be the first port of call. When I need to announce something, when I need to talk about something, and I can talk more about it in detail in my own channel than I can do on a neutral platform, because my channel gives me the room and the ability to be able to talk extensively about a product and its positioning, where on other ones I probably will just restrict it to the benefits and maybe have them link it back to my own brand channel. So that will continue. It always has been a first port of call, and I think it will continue like that as well.
So that is good. But do you see a greater interest in actual moves? Would you be considering, for example, to build own media property?
Yes, in fact,
how that would happen enterprise.
Yes, as we speak, we are actually in the works of creating our own podcast channel, for example. It's a new media, and it's something that we are trying to put together now to be the voice for our executives in terms of talking about newer things, in the newer trends, newer products. So we are in the process of doing that. So I think yes, we are agile enough to recognize the needs of the market and also create newer properties where we can host content which are more in line with what the people today are consuming.
Thank you. So you are exploring podcasts. That's really
we are. Yes.
Interesting. And so that's open to the media as well, or
as of now we're still, like I said, right now we're still putting it. We're also learning. This is a new world for us too. So we are, we're trying to test the waters first with internal audience to see, get it right and get it, get it in the correct space first, and then of course it will be open to the media as well.
That I look forward to that. It will be really interesting to see that kind of development. One or two final questions, Shobha. What has been? Did anything surprise you during COVID about your work? Was there anything new that you learned about communication from your COVID experience? What surprised you about yourself that, oh, I can do this also?
Well, it's a very interesting question. On a personal front, I think I learned a lot of things about myself. The first thing being that, I don't have as much patience as I thought I did. I used to think I have a lot of patience, but I think being inside the home for 60 days or 65 days does take a toll. So I think that's one of the things I learned about myself. The second thing I discovered was I can cook. And I can cook really well. I can follow YouTube instructions really, really well. So I think those are personal discoveries. From a professional discovery, I think I also realized that these are unprecedented times, and there are people and media houses and things that we thought were infallible, that nothing can shake them down, and I realized that maybe it was just a question of how big can it be for it to be shaken down. So I think there are some changes in the media which surprised me, which because I didn't expect that sort of changes to happen. From a communicator standpoint, I think the need to reevaluate strategies so early after making them, because for a calendar year we started sort of putting our plans together in January, and in March we were thinking how to sort of realign them to the new normal, and we're learning every day. So I think from a strategy perspective, from a how to communicate in lesser number of words, how to make sure that it's what you're saying is making sense, not just for the brand but also for the journalists. I think those are things that we are putting in practice every day. From a social media perspective also, I think I've learned through other people's mistakes that it's not just important about what you post, it's also important about what you like. Sometimes a wrong like on a seemingly innocuous post can really blow it out of proportion. So I think because we were at home and because it was in isolation or home quarantine, or everybody was sort of confined to the social media became your outlet to the world, and everybody was spending much more time on it. And somewhere I realized that maybe we were wrong, liking the wrong post, and that was also impacting the brand in some sense. So so those are some of the things that I learned.
That's really interesting. That a simple like can create a problem for your brand. So that is,
I've seen it happen to a
really
couple
the rules
of
of the game.
people. Yeah, I've seen it happen to a couple of people, and I realized that it was as small as that for them to get into that kind of situation. So yeah.
You also mentioned that some things which happened to the media surprised you. Could you outline some of them?
I mean, there are certain okay, so what I thought was, because the media was reporting so much around layoffs, etc., they would probably be more sensitive to that. But I have been hearing a lot of layoffs in the media as well. So when you're aware of the situation and you're reporting about how incorrect it is, and how this is the time to be supporting your colleagues and supporting your staff, etc. But we do hear about the media going through the same challenges as the rest of the organizations, rest of the companies around the world. So yeah, that little bit surprised me, because I thought that because news was the only thing that was really functioning in terms of its extended capacity, I would say, because they were reporting not just on COVID but on other things as well. So I would not imagine that they will ever feel the need to go through the same cycle as the rest of the enterprise. So it sort of little bit surprised me.
That's the revenue model of the media. It was immediately got impacted. So so that entirely dependent on advertising for
I mean,
so,
I mean, we know that, but
happened.
To see that impact was so suddenly, because I would have imagined that it would last for a little while longer before it started showing that impact. Maybe it happened much earlier than what I would have imagined it to happen. And it's my
Shobha.
personal opinion.
No, absolutely, you're absolutely right about that. It's very quickly and very swiftly actions have been taken by newspapers, especially by newspapers. So, thank you, Shobha, for joining us candidly and thoroughly outlining the various challenges which happen when you are providing enterprise grade security solutions and how to pitch in this scenario. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Parul, and stay safe, and I hope everything gets back to normal for everyone.